Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee is getting ready to prepare the DOGE Act, which is specifically designed to not only save the taxpayer money, but to shrink the federal workforce and decentralize power in Washington. The bill is named after, of course, the proposed Department of Government Efficiency, which is set to be run by tech mogul and owner of social media company Elon Musk, and then former presidential candidate, conservative rock star Vivek Ramaswamy. This piece of legislation is designed to freeze federal hiring, establish a base salary system for the federal workforce, and begin the process of relocating agencies out of D.C., effectively draining the swamp. Ramaswamy and Musk have endorsed the legislation, which is a very bold first step towards putting money back in the taxpayer pockets. The only question is the swamp going to allow itself to be drained? Joining us in studio, in person, attorney and Trump's favorite writer, Paul Ingrassia. Paul, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Chanel.
DOGE had a very interesting meeting on the Hill just yesterday with lawmakers. Lots of popular support for their initiative. But on the practical side, with Marsha Blackburn introducing this legislation, how is the swamp going to react?
Well, I think like all things, they're going to try to slow walk it. I mean, the swamp obviously likes inertia, it likes the status quo. It's not really receptive to change. It's a city, D.C. itself is a city of bureaucrats and lawyers.
Right.
Not much industry.
I joke that's why traffic is so slow. Time is not money.
That's probably true. That's exactly right. Exactly right. As a New Yorker, it's a little difficult to adapt. But, you know, having people like Elon and Vivek coming in there, people who obviously built their own businesses and really don't have much political experience to their benefit, to their credit in this situation. So I think having those types backing President Trump and the political mandate that he was given, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure both from the public and from this new Trump administration to really enact these reforms that are much needed, cutting back this red tape, this regulation that's strangling American industry and American business for so long, for decades now. And there's just so much waste. There's so much waste, fraud, and abuse, and we just really need to cut back on government spending and all these regulations that have stifled business and that have basically allowed our foreign competitors in China, India, Mexico to flourish at our expense. So there is a time for this to be done, and it's now, and I think Washington will definitely listen to President Trump and this new initiative that he's pushing here.
You know, on its face, an initiative like this is destined for failure in a place like D.C. Because of the things you've laid out, the predisposition for inertia, but because this is in the hands of two movers and shakers, two businessmen, Vivek and Elon, both businessmen in their own rights in incredible, very different ways, but incredible ways, that inertia, I think, is going to be severely challenged. But Paul, they only have 3 years, essentially, to actually pull this off. How does this keep going beyond this administration?
Well, with DOGE specifically, it's actually 2 years because they put a 2-year time frame on there. So, which is a good thing. They're having an outside sort of agency. I don't know really how you want to classify DOGE. It's kind of, we're still talking about it in its preliminary stages here. But, you know, to have sort of an oversight committee, which DOGE basically is, and to shut its doors after 2 years of going through this process, I think is a very good thing, and basically establishing a model for how we might deal with these regulations, regulatory reform in the future. But again, it's analogous to kind of like Congress voting for term limits. They're never going to vote for something that basically harms themselves. You know, and in this case, you know, the bureaucracy, which controls much of the rulemaking authority here in D.C., a lot of that power has been, you know, basically delegated from Congress, where it should be under Article 1, to these unelected bureaucrats, and they basically go crazy in how they interpret these regulations, which is a serious issue. And obviously there's a reform in the judiciary that needs to be done with that as well.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.